Hey, Essa, this is Don. Are we waiting for anyone else?
I did not see Rona. Rona, are you here?
And Craig, right?
Craig and Mike or Chung.
Craig is trying to sign on, so I'm sending him the password right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Mike's not answering his phone.
Should we wait a couple minutes for Craig and Mike? I guess this is a good time. I just want to say before we start, there's a couple of new people um, that are joining our board today. Carol Raymond is our new Maui representative, and I just want to say hi to her and welcome aboard. And also like Kimberly Sparlin, which from the governor's office, I guess, replacing Sarah, I guess, until she's out back from maternity. So I just wanted to tell you guys welcome aboard.
Okay, I just tried getting a hold of Mike and Chung, and I can't get a hold of either of them.
Okay, is Greg on?
I did not see him yet.
Yeah. Because I know he needs to leave early, right? So did we want to push up the executive in the agenda?
So I think we do the elections first, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, yeah. So shall we call that meeting to order then?
Sure.
All right. So I'd like to call the annual board meeting um, to order. What time is it? I guess it's 9:04. Um, for the election of the board officers. Can I get? How do you just take the nomination from the floor and see?
Is Mel on?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hi Mel.
Sorry.
Morning, Don. Are,
Morning.
are, are we ready to nominate the chair?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know what, Mel Kahele, I want to nominate Don Mendy as our new chair.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Can I get a second?
I think everyone's on mute.
Gary, I'll second the motion.
Rona, second.
All right, thanks. Is there any discussion? Any other nominations from the floor? If not, all in favor? Do I need to do a roll call or?
I think that would be good.
Okay. Um, who who does the roll call? Essa, can you help me with the roll call? or should I just run through it?
No, Essa can do roll call.
Okay.
Thank you. Rona,
Hi.
Mel,
Yeah.
George, Gary,
Aye.
did Craig come on yet?
We're here. Hi, Denise.
Aye. Oh, no, not that. Craig
Sorry, Craig Hirai, sorry.
Craig, you lost weight?
Yeah, Carol
Hi.
and Kimberly.
Present.
Okay, I think that's those
Chung is
who are.
on.
Oh,
Chung is on.
and Chung.
Chung, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so was that any opposed? Right. So we'll go through the vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair? If not, I'd like to nominate Gary. Can I get a second for Gary's nomination for vice chair?
A second, Kamawi.
Oh, thank you, Carol. Any discussion or other nominations? If not, Issa, can you go through the roll call again for vice chair?
Rona,
Okay.
Mel,
Mm.
George, Gary,
Aye.
Craig Hirai, Chung,
Hi.
Kimberly,
Aye.
Carol.
Hi.
That's everyone, right? Any nays? All right, motion passes. Thank you. And for the last one, secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
If no one's interested, Sarah, I would want to nominate Rona.
Okay, she's nodding, so I guess that's an affirmative. So
Oh.
can I get a second? If not, I'll second that. Any discussion or other nominations from the floor? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Do we need a roll call for secretary too? We do, right?
So Mel,
Yes.
George, Gary,
Yes.
Craig Hirai, Chung,
Yes.
Kim,
Aye.
and Carol.
Hi.
Very good, thanks. Motion passes it. That's it on the agenda for the annual report. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, who was that Rona? And
And
Yes.
Mel.
It's Rona.
okay, I see Craig's on the line now. So I guess let's call to order.
Can
Yeah,
you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay.
Let's call to order the regular meeting at what is it, 9:10. So group of the minutes, item 2A, regular minutes, meeting minutes as of June 18. The minutes will be provided at the next meeting. Yes, I didn't.
Oh no, I sent out.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. There you go.
Chair, I got a copy on, I believe in my email. I read it. I didn't see any problems. If anyone did, if not, I make a motion that we accept.
Okay.
It's Rona, I second.
Thanks, Rona. Any discussion?
This is Kim. Since I wasn't present, I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Okay. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks. Normally, I would defer the executive session minutes to the executive session, but I think we want to push the executive session up in the agenda, because I believe Craig will play a vital role in that discussion, and I believe he has to leave early today, so we want to take the executive session first.
Okay, and I have Neil Miyahira here, the budget chief at BNF also.
Okay.
Chair, can you entertain a motion to go into exec session for the matter as set forth on the agenda?
Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session to?
No, Haley, I'll make a motion.
Why are we adding anything? Was it in the original plan?
It's Rona, I second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hold on while I connect everyone in the breakout room. No? Oh.
So you let us know when everything's set.
Bill Ewan.
Yeah.
How do those dates work? You're working with Holly or something on those dates, yeah? The dates, May 26th. May 20. Did they change the dates?
Yeah.
Hello?
Is everybody back?
We can hear you.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks everybody. We are now out of executive session and continuing on with the regular agenda. So we will move to item 3A. This is to approve an award for federal and state low-income housing tax credits from the state's 2020 volume cap to one Kaiaulu o Halelea located in Kihei, Maui, TMK 222024033, two Villages of Laopua located in Kona, Hawaii, TMK 374028001 through 017 and 019 through 061. And three, Papaloa Elderly Housing Project located in Papaloa, Hawaii, TMK 335003049. Can I get a motion?
Rona, so moved.
Thank you, Rona. Can I get a second? Anybody? Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you.
This subject for, sorry.
Hang on. You start. I just want to let everybody know that the third party or Papaloa Elderly Housing, that I'm actually on the board and one of the related parties, so I'm going to recuse myself from this voting. So I just wanted to let everybody know ahead of time. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. The subject for action requests the award of 2020 volume cap or 9% low-income housing tax credits. As background, the tax credit program was established in 1986 by the Tax Reform Act, which allows projects to receive tax credits based on qualified expenditures on affordable housing units. These qualified affordable housing projects will generally monetize the tax credits by taking on investors that will have an ownership interest in the project and then can then use the tax credits to offset their tax obligations. Only a state or local housing agency can award low-income housing tax credits. HHFDC is the designated agency in the state of Hawaii. In accordance with the Internal Revenue Code, HHFDC established a Qualified Allocation Plan, or QAP, which outlines the criteria we will use to evaluate and allocate the low-income housing tax credits. On Section 3E of your for action, there's highlights on the requirements of the Internal Revenue Code. So the tax credits is only going to be available for units rented to low-income housing occupants. A project will also have to have at least 20% of the units allocated to those earning 50% or less AMGI, area median income, or 40% of the units have to be dedicated to AMGI category that is 60% or below. The rents on the units will be based on the number of bedrooms in that unit and on the AMGI qualifications. The minimum affordability requirement for the tax credit program is 30 years, and that all units must be available to the general public. The IRS places a limit on the amount of annual cap that a state can allocate. For 2020, the cap is going to be the greater of about $2.81 multiplied by a state's population, or $3.2 million. Based on Hawaii's IRS population estimate, we received $4 million in 2020 per capita volume cap, and we also have $100,000 in 2019 carry forward cap, and that brings our total availability to about 4.1 million. That's kind of in the table on item G. On April 17th of this year, we received 10 applications aggregating 17.5 million in requests for 9% tax credits. The subsequent review and evaluation of the applicants based on the QAP yielded the following. Of the 10 applicants, 2 applicants failed minimum threshold requirements. CAOG Waipa Lane failed the market study threshold requirement by not providing a vendor compliance certificate for the firm that conducted the market study. And Hale Makana o Uluvehi failed the contractor profit threshold. They had a contractor profit of 15.2% versus the limit of 14%. Let's see. The 8 remaining projects qualified for scoring under the QAP criteria point system. Under this system, projects are scored over 18 categories with a maximum possible points of 120. These categories are affordable housing characteristics that HHFDC, the IRS, and the state of Hawaii as identified as being what we are going to evaluate as far as awarding the tax credits. The weighting of the points in the criteria point system is based on the importance of that particular category to affordable housing interest in the state of Hawaii. The breakdown of the criteria point system and how each project scored is available in Exhibit A. That's your detailed, Exhibit A will give you guys the detailed scoring breakdown. Under item G, that just kind of outlines the total points and the scoring hierarchy of the 8 remaining applicants. So based on the scoring system, we are recommending 9% low-income housing carryover allocations for Kaialu o Halelea, villages of Laiopua and Papalaoa elderly housing. Please note that we are recommending bypassing the 3rd highest scoring project, which is Kaiwainui Street Apartments, as the available 9% credits is $1 million short of their request. So that's kind of outlined in Table I. So in that table, you can see after we make the awards to the first 2 highest scoring projects, we have about 800,000 in tax credits remaining. Kaiwainui asked for about 1.8. So they're going to be about $1 million short in federal credits. And that's why we're looking to fund instead Papaloa elderly housing. As a brief summary of the recommended projects, Kaialu o Halelea, that is a new construction of a 64-unit facility targeted for families in Kihei, Maui. The improvements are going to consist of 8 2-story residential and 1 community building. The community building is going to house a community room with some laundry facilities. The project will target 60, 40, and 30% AMGI target groups, with most of the units at 60% AMGI. The second project is Villages of Laiopua. That is the new construction of 60 single-family homes for families with a first right of refusal purchase option. That is an option provided in the Internal Revenue Code. That's going to be in Kona, Hawaii on DHHL land. Project will target 60, 40, and 30% AMGIs, with most of the units at 60%. One thing to note, the award to Villages of Laiopua, or the recommended 2020 award to Villages of Laiopua, is going to be in addition to a 2019 award that was given last year. This is going to help the project offset some construction cost increases that was yeah, it stemmed basically from a dispute with the initial contractor that provided the estimates. And from my understanding in talking with the developers, the dispute was kind of large, and it kind of resulted in the project rebidding and basically replacing the general contractor. So, you know, that contributed to why they needed to come back for the additional credits. Some of the additional increases, you know, were related to some architect fees that they had to do to try and amend the designs of the projects to, you know, try and keep that cost increase as low as possible. As part of covering the increased costs, they did manage to get additional construction funds from the construction lender, as well as the existing construction lender is now also providing a new permanent loan tranche to help finance the cost overruns. The third project is Papaloa Elderly Housing. That is a 21-unit facility targeted for elderly households in Papaloa, Hawaii. That will consist of 10 residential duplex buildings and a manager's unit building, as well as a community building that's going to house a community room and laundry facilities. Excuse me. The project will target the 50% AMGI group, and Hawaii County also approved Section 8 project-based vouchers for all 20 residential units, which is, you know, kind of valuable as far as providing a subsidy for the tenants. These existing or the new, these 10 residential duplex buildings are actually going to replace 5 older buildings that consist of 10 units. So those 5 buildings will be raised. They're going to put up 10 new buildings, and the existing tenants that are currently there will be given an opportunity to qualify for the new buildings, but they would then have to qualify under the tax credit program as well as the Section 8 program to get back into that project. I believe the project has also developed a relocation plan for any of the tenants that might not be able to qualify under the new program requirements. Following the recommendation, we will have about 449,000 in remaining 9% low-income housing tax credits. Those amounts would be carried over into 2021 for future allocation. Any applicant that didn't receive an award of 2020 credits this year would be free to apply for a future identified 9% tax credit round. And so in conclusion, yeah, we're recommending 9% tax credits for the 3 projects, Kai'alu'o Halelea, Villages of Laiopua, and Papaloa Housing. I'm available for questions, and I think we have all of the developers for each of the 3 projects available as well.
Before we go further, I just would like to introduce Patrick Inouye to the new members of the board. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, is there any questions?
Chair, this is Gary. I have a question for Patrick.
Yes.
So on Patrick, it's indicated in the footnote on page 2 of the 4 action that the villages at Laiopua project received tax credits from the 2019 allocation.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, in terms of a HHFDC policy, I know we invite applicants who don't receive an award to come back in a subsequent application cycle. but for a project that did receive an award in the prior year, coming back again to apply for tax credits for in this case, the 2020 cycle, is there a policy to that effect? And I'm asking that in the context of this project presenting an amended budget that's approximately 44% over their prior budget.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there is no restrictions there's nothing that prevents a project from receiving an award across 2 years. So in general, as far as HHFDC is concerned, this is going to be, I think, the first project that has run into such a large increase where they've had to come back in for another tax credit award. We've had projects in the past that received a 9% award. They received a revolving fund award, but and they had a budget increase. And what some of them have had to have done is they actually leaned more on the revolving fund than the tax credit. So they would ask for more revolving fund. But in this year's round, we didn't have a 9% round, so that avenue was kind of closed off to them. As far as also what's required by the IRC does allow projects to come back in for subsequent 9% awards. In fact, I think depending on the state, they handle that a little bit differently. I believe some states, so it's not, I guess what I'm trying to say is it does happen nationally where a project will come in for a subsequent award. How a state handles it is kind of different because it varies among states. One of the states that we found out what they do is when a project comes back in for a subsequent award, like if I'm going to use this as an example, they got a 2019 award, they're requesting a little bit extra for 2020. What that other state does, instead of issuing some at 2019, some at 2020, that state says, okay, give me back all your 2019, and then in 2020, I'll reallocate you the total amount. So now you just have a whole bunch of 2020 tax credits. In our state, we don't really have that mechanism to take back the 2019 and re-award it. So, that's why we have this little, it's a little weird. They will have a 2020 award and they will have to comply, they'll have a 2019 award. They'll have to comply with the requirements of the 2019 allocation, and they'll have a tranche of 2020, and they'll have to comply with the 2020 allocation as well.
Okay.
I don't know if that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, thank you for that, Patrick. And not to put you on the spot, but do you think this board should consider a mechanism like that, like the one you just mentioned?
I mean, you mean the thing about returning the credits and having them reallocated in one tranche of 2020?
Yes, that's my question.
I don't know. It would be something that we'd have to think about whether or not, because no one way is right or wrong. At least in this situation, as far as Laiohua is concerned, for example, when I mean that they have to comply with the requirements of the 2019 award is, so when they got their award last year in June 2019, for example, they had to do a 10% test where they have to spend 10% of their anticipated eligible basis within 12 months of that award. So that 2019 10% test was due June of this year. So that was a requirement that they would have to meet. So they actually turned in that cost certification for the 10% test. So they've passed that award. And their intent is they intend to comply fully with the 2019 allocation and not have to worry about I'm going to have to split it up between compliance of 2019 and 2020. Well, if you just comply everything with 2019, you don't even have to worrying about the 10% test on 2020 or the placed in service date of 2020. So, you know, good and bad. I mean, I guess there's positive and negatives on either way, whether or not the agency decides to kind of keep them separated or have a return and complete reallocation.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that explanation, Patrick. I
Thanks,
want to make a comment just generally. I think, you know, looking at, it's kind of a oddball situation this year, but looking at, you know, giving additional tax credits to the Villages project. And by the way, I just want to say first that I love the project. It's, I think it's hits all the right notes as far as serving the community, as do the other projects. But I also see that it has, the additional tax credits has impact on other worthy projects that were part of the application process this year that are not receiving tax credits because the Villages came in for additional tax credits. And I just feel like we need to be mindful of that in looking at projects that make more than one request for this type of financing, this really critically important financing. And then I do want to ask one more question, Patrick. The carryover of $449,000, is that a large carryover for 9% tax credits, or is that sort of in the range of prior years?
No. So Gary, that 449,000 in carry forward, it's actually a little larger than usual. And part of it is the uniqueness of this round. And part of it is I think the size of the projects. So what I mean is that the uniqueness of this round. In this year, we didn't have the revolving fund in place. We couldn't do that allocation. So a lot of these guys, when they came in to apply, they're kind of forced to go with an all credit request. So you don't have this little bit of extra, right? Because a lot of what they do is they'll reduce the credit request and then they'll have a chunk of revolving fund that they can use to fill that gap. You take away that revolving fund, now the requests are larger, but it impacts all the projects across the board. So each of the projects, they don't have a choice. They gotta kind of take in or make a request for a larger credit amount. That's why if you take a look at each of the projects' individual requests, they're all in excess of $1 million. You got 1.4, you got 1.8, you got one, you know. Yeah. And so now you have this situation of, you know, they're not able to leverage, and we can't, like, we don't have another project that was kind of in the $1 million range or something like that. You know, because each of the individual requests are larger, it's kind of harder to kind of fill the holes. So, right, if each of the projects had asked for, instead of, let's go back, for example, like the number one scoring project, Hallelujah. Instead of asking for 2.4 million in credits, you know, if they had the revolving fund, maybe they could have ratcheted it down to maybe, I don't know, 1.8, you know, something like in that order. And then you'd have enough to fit, maybe add that 1.8 to the 400 carry, you know, that difference to the 400 carryover, and then maybe we could have fit in another project. But, you know, because we didn't have the revolving fund, you know, that kind of tightened up our options, or even the developers' options on what they could request. The second thing too is what we're kind of seeing now is the size of the individual projects. So in this round too, we had couple projects that were kind of big. I think one of the projects in here was almost 200 units. One of the larger applicants. Let's see. the one, Lailoa Hale, that was a very large project, and they asked for 3.7 million in annual federal credits. I mean, that pretty much would almost consume the whole, yeah, that would consume almost the entire per capita allocation. So, you know, that kind of stuff kind of really limits, you know, how much the credits can really cover. So when you have that kind of situation, you know, if you had another smaller project in there, you know, maybe it could have consumed the 400,000. So, you know, I sorry, it's kind of a, you know, a long-winded answer and stuff like that, but it's kind of true. For the most part, as far as the carry forwards are concerned, what we normally see is something under 100,000. Some years we actually kind of wipe out all the carry forwards. But so this year is kind of a little larger one.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate it. That helps me understand a lot of what you guys went through this year, this round.
Yeah. Thanks,
to you and the staff.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Thank you, Patrick. Anybody else have any questions? No? All right.
I do have, Don, this is Gary again. I do have a question or two for the developer, if they're available.
Yeah, sure. Is anyone here from the development side? Let's see.
Which project?
This is the village. Village is at La'iopua.
The dumping liaison.
He's on mute though. You know, I can try and Gary, I think they're on, but I don't know if we can connect them in. I can try and answer if you got any questions.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I read through the 4 action, you know, it doesn't show a contractor. It says to be determined.
Yeah.
And it was mentioned that rebidding has been done, and I'm just curious to know if they have a general contractor under contract to secure their pricing.
Okay, so no, understood. So because they had some a little bit of the issues with their initial contractor, you know, we had some discussions about you know what they did on their bidding and stuff like that. So the reason why they wanted to leave it as to be determined is they haven't really signed the construction contract with the contractor yet. However, I just spoke with them yesterday. So they do have an identified contractor. They are, I think, you know, they're kind of waiting. If they get approved for this, they intend to sign the contract within a week. And I think they are going to go with coastal construction.
Okay.
Yeah, Patrick, your mic coming through?
Oh yeah. So this is Tom. I think Tom is on the line now.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was on mute. No, Patrick's exactly right. We're going to be engaging with coastal construction. Just want to make sure that it's confirmed.
Okay. And have you completed all of your value engineering on this project?
We have completed value engineering to date, but we always look at value engineering while we're building as well.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else for any of the other projects? All right. If not, can I guess all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So can we do a roll call?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel, George,
Aye. Aye.
Jackie, Gary,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
and Mel.
Mel, are you there?
Yeah. Okay, well,
I guess we have enough. Oh, there's Mel.
I'm here, but you can't hear me.
Oh, we can hear you now.
there you
Oh,
are.
so you know? Aye,
Thanks, Mel.
yes.
All right, thanks, Mel.
All right.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, thank you, everybody. So let's move on to item 3B. This for action is to approve a rental housing revolving fund loan lien position amendment for the villages of Laiapua located in Kona, Hawaii. TMK 374-028-001 through 017 and 019 through 061.
So
Can I get
move.
a motion? Thanks, Mel.
Rona, second.
Thanks, Rona.
This request is actually related to the request for additional tax credits for villages of Laiopua. So project information the same. Basically, the purpose of this request is related to the budget increase and how they try to cover that increase with the amendment of the financing structure. So there is their existing construction lender that was providing a construction loan initially. When they had their budget increase, what that existing lender did was they increased the amount of their construction loan. And then what they also did to help cover the cost during the permanent period was they amended or they created a new permanent loan tranche. So there's an additional there's a new additional permanent loan tranche that's gonna be in place under the new financing structure. Originally, when this transaction was approved last year, that there was no permanent loan tranche. The construction lender was going to be completely taken out at conversion from interim to perm. So now there's a perm tranche. So when we approved the revolving fund last year, we had made the statement that it was going to be a senior loan position during the permanent phase. That's not going to be the case now. There's going to be the senior lender with a permanent loan tranche. And that permanent loan tranche, because we're talking about the first right of refusal, that's going to occur in year 15. What we're going to do, it's going to be a little bit different of a permanent loan tranche. Normally, you would see on the permanent loan, you'd look at a 15-year term, 30-year amortization. What they're structuring here is a 15-year fully amortized permanent loan. That way, it would actually make the transition easier on the first right of refusal. You'll get out the permanent loan first, and then on the back end, when they're selling the units, they only have to worry about taking us out as the senior lender at that point, and then after taking us out, taking out the DHHL loan on the back end that's behind us. So the debt service ratio is fine on the senior loan, and worst comes to worst, if we're under assume the worst case scenario where none of the units sell and at year 15, and we need to carry this loan, and the project does need to operate it as a conventional rental project. The balance on the revolving fund loan at the end of the maturity, I think, ends up being less than 50% of the original balance, which is consistent with the repayment structure that we want for the revolving fund loan. So basically, we're recommending approval of the amendment of the RHRF loan to take a junior position behind the lender that is providing the construction loan, as well as that new permanent loan tranche, and which will help cover the at least a portion of the project budget increase that's occurring during the permanent phase.
Okay, thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Don, I got a question, Don.
Yeah, sure.
Pat, you know, you know, on your budget chart, it refers to syndication costs. What's the cost for it? Is that legal fees, brokerage fees?
Oh no. Syndication costs. Well, any of the financing costs. So mostly the syndication cost refers to the costs that you're going to pay to the tax credit syndicator for the syndication of the tax credits. But you know, in that financing and syndication cost line, it covers everything. It covers any financing costs. So there will be construction loan interest, conversion fees, permanent loan fees, anything related to the financing and syndication participants, that any other fees or interest that they're charging.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of a broad, broad category, but there's all kind of stuff in there. But if you're specifically looking at like a syndication cost, that's going to be fees, payments, whatever, that's going to be paid to the tax credit syndicator.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mel. Anybody else? All right. And Patrick, I just had one quick question. I know you mentioned like the debt service with this added financing costs, but it's added debt. So it's still within our guidelines.
Yeah. So the exact debt service ratio on this is going to be, where is it? 1.15.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that 1 point. So as part of the threshold requirements for the tax credit program, we have that minimum 1.15 debt service coverage, and that has to be for a minimum of the 15-year tax credit compliance period. So we do that little discounted cash flow, and we're inflating income by 2%, inflate expenses by 3%, and so we're just checking it over that, especially that first initial 15 years when they need to do the compliance for the tax credit program. Yeah, so sorry, long-winded answer, but yeah, they meet the requirement for the debt coverage.
Okay, very good. Thanks. So I guess if there's no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
We need to do a roll call.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yes, it's OIP has suggested that.
On every action we need to do our
Yes.
roll? Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Essa, can you take a roll call, please?
Gary.
Did you call me? Aye.
Rona.
Aye.
Mel. George.
Mona, am I here?
Now you are. George.
Can't hear me.
Aye.
Why can't you hear me?
I don't know.
You can see me now.
Chung.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
That's everyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So motion passes. Move on to item 3C. So this for action is to approve an amendment and extension of the rental assistance contract for Nalehulu Kupuna project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK 121-051-004 and 038. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Rona.
Good morning,
Okay.
Chair, members, board members. This for action is to request an amendment of the rental assistance contract to increase the number of units eligible for rental assistance to all 75 affordable units and to extend the rental assistance contract for 9 years for the Nale Hulukupunu project. The project is an existing elderly project located in Kaka'ako on the island of Oahu, consisting of 75 affordable units and 1 manager unit. The original owner of the project was awarded low-income housing tax credits and rental assistance subsidy when the project was built in the early 90s. Hawaii Community Development Authority, a government entity, was a general partner of the original owner. The project was sold to the current owner in December of 2017, and at that time, the original owner withdrew a request to assign the RAP contract to the current owner, and the sale was completed without the assignment of their rental assistance contract. Following the change in ownership, inquiries by residents and members of the public regarding the rental assistance caused the original owner to inform HHFDC that withdrawing the request to assign the rental contract was an error. In April 2018, the RAP contract was reinstated, and this board approved an assignment of the rental contract from the original owner to the new owner. The assistance at that time was limited to existing tenants that were previously approved for rental assistance at the time of the sale. At that time, there were 45 tenants eligible for rental assistance under the program, and some of the tenants were already receiving rental subsidies from other programs such as Section 8. The new owner's plan at that time was to assist tenants in obtaining other governmental rental assistance and eventually term out of the RAP program under HHFDC. On May 4, 2020, the current owner submitted a request to amend the RAP contract to allow rental assistance to all 75 units that meet the RAP eligibility criteria and to extend the RAP contract for an additional 10 years. The contract is set to expire on November 14, 2022. Currently, of the 75 affordable units, 25 receive RAP assistance and 20 other receive some form of government rent assistance, such as Section 8. If the RAP contract is amended to provide rental assistance to all 75 units, 13 units that do not receive any source of rental assistance would be eligible for RAP assistance. Additionally, the 5 vacant units could be marketed as a RAP assisted unit and help an elderly tenant who might not have qualified previously to rent a unit. Since taking ownership of the project, the current owner continued to assist tenants in obtaining other governmental rental assistance. Unfortunately, the process has been slow, and the owner anticipates that tenants will have difficulty with their rent payments once their unemployment benefits and care stimulus monies are exhausted. The original amount of the RAP contract was $6.75 million, and the amount of subsidy dispersed through fiscal year 2020 is 3.9, so roughly about 59% of the total contract. Based on 100% of utilization of 75 RAP units, the remaining commitment is sufficient to cover an additional 9 years of RAP payments. Historically, HHFDC has granted extensions of the RAP contract up to the original commitment made to the project. The recommendation to amend the RAP contract to allow rental assistance for all 75 units and to extend the contract for 9 years, and we also put in there subject to the extension of the low-income housing tax credit affordability requirement to coincide or extend beyond the RAP contract is on page 4 of the 4 action. Currently, the low-income housing tax credit affordability requirement expires on December 31st, 2021. Staff, as well as I believe Mr. Craig Watase, who you saw earlier, and Mr. Max Lindsay from the project, is available for questions also.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm just curious, what happens with the units that have Section 8 assistance?
Oh, they don't receive the rental housing from us. They don't receive assistance, so they're separate. So they can continue to go that way, but if they were to move out, if we do this amendment, they move out and a new tenant comes in, the owner can actually now offer this assistance to them if they qualify.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, Esther, can we get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona, sorry,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George, George, Chung,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Essa. Okay. Moving on to item 3D. This for action is to approve an extension to Resolution 129, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hulame multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Halava View 2 project located in Aiea, Hawaii, Oahu, sorry, at 199,003,026 portion of. Can I get a motion, please?
So move.
Thanks, Mel.
So the halal
Gary, second.
Oh. Thanks, Rona. What was? Does anyone have any questions?
I just noticed an error, I presume, in one of the exhibit by was it by letter written by Kimberly Pine. Yeah, just an error, I think, on October 9, 2020 and November 7, 2020. I think they're supposed to be in 2019. That's all.
Oh, okay. The letter dated in the future. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, George. Any other questions? If not, Essa, can I get a roll call, please?
Huh?
I don't think there was any questions, huh? Or after George, so if not, can I get a roll call?
So we're presenting item 3D.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Jump the
Chair.
gun.
The Halal View 2 project is a 156 unit family project located in Aiea on the island of Oahu. On July 11, 2019, HHFDC Board of Directors approved the following for the benefit of the Halal View 2 project. $40,200,000 intended tax exempt issuance from the Hulame multifamily program. $2,664,038 in annual federal and annual state tax credits, and the rental housing revolving fund loan of up to $21,300,000. On June 11, 2020, Halal View 2 Limited Partnership requested to extend resolution number 129. As mentioned before, the Halal View 2 project is a proposed 156 unit project, including one manager's unit. The project is a second of three phases. Phase 1 is an existing 121 unit family affordable rental housing project. There's a third phase, Halal View 3, which is going to be developed concurrently with Halal View 2. The awardee plans to combine Halal View 2 and Halal View 3 into one project under one ownership. The awardee is a single asset real estate holding company specifically established to develop, own, and operate the project. The administrative general partner is Hawaii Pacific LLC. The managing general partner is Hawaii Community Development Board, and the special general partner is Mark Development. The proposed financing structure and the budget is summarized in the tables below. The estimated construction timeline is as follows. Building permits are expected December 2021. Project expects to start construction in September 2021. This is before the building permit date. They plan to start construction, assuming that a grading permit would be issued. So the scope of work would be limited to whatever's allowed under that grading permit. With project completion expected April 2023. Staff evaluated the extension request based on progress made on 3 basic milestones: site control, zoning approvals, and securing financing. Awardee has site control. Awardee is working to obtain 201H exemptions through the City and County of Hawaii. This project experienced an unforeseen delay. The Department of the Navy had some security concerns due to the project bordering Joint Base Pearl Harbor on 2 sides of the buildings. So the Navy issued a conditioned approval letter to the City and County of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting. The project's been working directly with the Navy and the city to address issues and concerns. Financing commitments: awardee continues to work with Citibank on the sale of tax-exempt bonds and Hunt Capital Partners, LLC, on the syndication of federal and state tax credits. The inducement resolution is required under Section 1.150-2 of the Treasury Regulation before the project sponsor acquires or commences construction of the development. Inducement resolution number 129 does not authorize the sale of tax-exempt bonds for the project. Staff will present a subsequent resolution to the board requesting for approval for actual issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds if it is deemed feasible. Furthermore, the bond issuance is subject to availability of volume cap and approval by the Department of Budget and Finance and the governor. Staff recommends an extension to January 31, 2021 to coincide with the project's rental housing revolving fund letter of interest expiration. The recommendation is that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following: extend the deadline to issue Hulame multifamily bonds for the Halawa View 2 project to January 31st, 2021, and authorize the Executive Director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Staff is available for comment, and I believe Joe Michael is also available representing the developer.
All right, thanks, Ian. Any questions? No questions? All right, now, yes, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
That's everyone.
Okay, thanks. Okay, moving on to item 3E. This for action to approve an extension to resolution number 130, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hulame multifamily tax-exempt revenue bonds for the Halawa View 3 project located in Aiea, Oahu at TMPA 199003026 portion of. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Thanks, Mel. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Rona. Okay.
So the Halawa View 3 project is related to the previous for action Halawa View 2. On July 11, 2020, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved $40 million intended tax-exempt issuance from the Hulame multifamily bond program, $2,599,603 in annual federal low-income housing tax credits and in annual state low-income housing tax credits. The rental housing revolving fund loan of up to $21 million. On June 10, 2020, Halava View 3 Limited Partnership requested to extend resolution number 130. Halava View 3 is a proposed 146 unit, including one manager's unit, affordable rental housing facility targeted for families. As mentioned in the earlier for action, this is the third phase of a three-phase project with Halava View 2 being developed concurrently with the intent to combine both Halava View 3 and Halava View 2 into one project under one ownership. The Wardy is a single asset real estate holding company specifically established to develop, own, and operate the project. Administrative general partner is Hawaii Pacific LLC. Managing general partner is Hawaii Community Development Board. And the special general partner is Mark Development Inc. The project financing structure and the budget is summarized in the tables below. Project's estimated construction timeline is as follows. Building permits, December 2021. Construction start date is expected September 2021. Project completion on April 2023. Staff evaluated the extension request based on progress made on 3 basic milestones. Wardy has site control. Wardy is working with the city and county of Honolulu to obtain approval on their 201H exemptions. And as mentioned in the previous for action, the project has an unforeseen delay due to concerns posed by the Navy. And they've been working with the Navy and the City and County of Honolulu Department of Planning and Permitting to address any concerns. Wardy continues to work with Citibank on the sale of tax-exempt bonds and Hunt Capital Partners LLC on the syndication of federal and state housing tax credits. Inducement resolution number 130 does not authorize the sale of tax-exempt bonds for the project. The staff will present a subsequent resolution to the board requesting for approval for the actual issuance, sale, and delivery of bonds if it is deemed feasible. Bond issuance is subject to availability of volume cap and approval by the Department of Budget and Finance and the Governor. Staff recommends an extension to January 31st, 2021 to coincide with the project's rental housing revolving fund letter of interest expiration. The recommendation that the board of directors approve the following: extend the deadline to issue Hula Bay multifamily bonds for the Halava View 3 project to January 31st, 2021, and authorize the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Staff is available for comment, as well as Mr. Joe Michael representing the developer.
All right, thanks, Dean. Any questions?
Same comment about the Kimberly Pine letter.
Oh, okay. Thanks, George. I guess if not, Essa, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Essa. All right, moving to item 3F. This fraction is to approve an extension to resolution 095, which provides for official intent with respect to the issuance of Hula Bay multifamily tax-exempt revenue bonds for the Kaiaulu o Waikoloa project located in Waikoloa, Hawaii, KMK 368003028. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Mel.
Second.
Thanks, Rona.
On January 12, 2017, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved the following for the benefit of the Kaiaulu o Waikoloa project. $12,360,000 intended tax-exempt issuance from the Hula Bay multifamily bond program. $964,554 in annual federal low-income housing tax credits, and $964,554 in annual state low-income housing tax credits. RHRF project award for up to $9,900,000. On May 14, 2020, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved the following increase in the intended tax exempt bond amount to $19,180,800 from $12,360,000, and an increase in the annual tax credit to $1,395,945 from $964,554 for both the federal and state tax credits. June 10, 2020, the awardee submitted a request to extend the resolution number 095 from 6 months to January 31st, 2021. The project is a proposed 60-unit, including one manager's unit, affordable rental housing facility targeted for families. Awardee is a single asset real estate holding company specifically established to develop, own, and operate the project. The general partner of the awardee is A0674 Waikoloa Holdings LLC. The sole member of A0674 Waikoloa Holdings LLC is Ikaika Ohana. The proposed financing structure, as well as the project budget, is summarized in the charts in the core action. Project's estimated construction timeline is as follows. Building permits in June 2020, construction start date August 2020, first building completion July 22, project completion July 22. Please note that since we finalized the 4 action, these dates have slipped a bit, but the project is working diligently to obtain their building permits so that they can start construction shortly thereafter. Staff evaluated the extension request based on progress made on 3 basic milestones of site control, zoning approvals, and securing financing commitments. Already has site control. Project conforms to zoning, and I also wanted to note that this project had an unforeseen delay due to HUD issuing guidance regarding the possible existence of unexploded ordnance in the Waikoloa maneuver area. Subsequent to the original approval, the awardee has worked with the State Department of Health to mitigate the UXO-related concerns on the site. And financing commitments, the awardee is working with First Hawaiian Bank and American Savings Bank on the purchase of tax-exempt bonds, and HUD Capital Partners LLC on the sale of federal and state low-income housing tax credits. The awardee is working with the County of Hawaii to access the CDBG funds and project-based Section 8 vouchers. Inducement resolution number 095 does not authorize the sale of tax-exempt bonds. Staff will present a subsequent resolution to the board requesting the approval for the issuance, sale, and delivery of the bonds if it is deemed feasible. Furthermore, the bond issuance is subject to availability of volume cap and approval by the Department of Budget and Finance of the government. The recommendation that the board of directors approve the following: extend the deadline to issue Hula May multifamily bonds for the Kaiaulu Waikoloa to January 31st, 2021, and authorize the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this 4 action. Staff is available for questions, as well as Mr. Doug Bigley, representing the developer.
All right, thanks, Dean. Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, this is Kim. I thank you for that report and all your hard work on this. I'm sure that unexploded ordinances put some delays on things, but I guess just first blush, and I'm trying to sprint to catch up with you guys with all these projects, but this was originally approved in 2017, and we don't even have permits to be moving forward to get anything built.
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the project was delayed the project couldn't proceed with finalizing its design until it addressed the unexploded ordnance issue. This required establishing a new process with the Department of Health because HUD's guidance was that they needed to get some sort of clearance or plan through the State Department of Health. So the developer had worked with the Department of Health to get the clearance, as well as the Department of Health worked diligently to establish a process. So they were able to get their process established last summer. And shortly after that, the department, the developer and the Department of Health entered into an agreement with regard to how they would address the mitigation plan for the unexploded ordnance.
So we're confident that this is the last extension request. There have been several.
Yes, so the project is currently on bond calls, so which means that we are moving toward closing. So
all right.
Yes.
All right, I'm watching.
Thanks, Kim. Good questions. Anyone else? If not, Essa, can I get a roll call?
Gary? Gary?
Aye.
Rona?
Aye.
Mel?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Chung?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
All right, thank you. So moving to item 3G. This for action is to approve an extension to the rental housing revolving fund letter of intent to the Kai'ulu Waikolo project located in Waikolo, Hawaii, TMK 368003028. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Mel.
Second.
Thanks, Rona.
So this for action is to request an extension of the rental housing revolving fund project award to the Kai'ulu Waikoloa project. Much of the facts presented in this for action has been stated in the previous for action, so I will skip over the redundant facts presented. On June 10, 2020, the awardee submitted a request to extend the extend the rental housing revolving fund letter of interest for 6 months to January 31st, 2021. Stated earlier, the project experienced delays with respect to unexploded ordnance, or the potential of having unexploded ordnance on the site. The project is on bond calls, so we are working toward issuing bonds and that will enable the project to commence construction. Recommendation is as follows: that the Board of Directors approve the following. Extend the letter of interest dated January 17, 2017 for the Kai'ulu Waikoloa project to January 31st, 2021, subject to the requirements except for the for action dated January 12, 2017, and authorize the Executive Director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of the for action. Staff is available for questions, as well as Mr. Doug Bigley, representing the developer.
Thank you, Dean. Anybody have any questions? If not, Rona, can I get a roll? Essa, can I get a roll call? Sorry.
Gary?
Aye.
Rona?
Aye.
Mel?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Chung?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Thanks, Essa. All right, moving to item 3H. Um, this for action is to approve an extension to Resolution 125, which provides for an official intent with respect to the issuance of Hula May multifamily tax exempt revenue bonds for the Kokua project located on Honolulu, Oahu, application number 121010050. Can I get a mo- Thanks, Mel.
Second.
Thanks, Rona.
January 10, 2019, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved intended tax exempt issuance of up to $45,928,783 from the Hula multifamily bond program, $2,424,698 in annual federal low-income tax credits, and $2,424,698 in annual state low-income housing tax credits, and the rental housing revolving fund loan up to $35,852,811. On January 9, 2020, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved an extension to Resolution number 125 to July 31st, 2020. And that is to align it with the rental housing revolving fund letter of interest expiration. On June 9, 2020, Alakea Senior Limited Partnership requested to extend resolution number 125. The project is a proposed 223 unit, including one manager's unit, affordable rental housing facility targeted for the elderly. The awardee is a single asset real estate holding company specifically established to develop, own, and operate the project. The general partners of the awardee are High Ridge Costa Development Company, LLC, Affordable Housing and Economic Development Foundation, and Coastal Rim Properties. I want to point out that High Ridge Costa Development Company, LLC is a new general partner in the limited partnership, and they have taken on the role as being the managing general. Previous Coastal Rim Properties was the managing general partner for this project, but High Ridge Costa Development Company, LLC will be the lead. And I also wanted to point out that Coastal Rim and High Ridge Costa have been partners in the Kulanahale at Kapolei and Kapolei mixed-use development phase 2 projects. The proposed financing structure and the proposed budget is summarized in the for action. Project's estimated construction timeline is as follows. Building permits are expected on February 2021. Construction start date is projected on March 2021, and project completion is projected on March 2023. HHFDC evaluated the extension request based on progress made on 3 basic milestones of site control, zoning approval, and securing financing commitments. The awardee has site control. Project received 201H approval. The awardee is working with the City and County of Honolulu to finalize its development agreement. Awardee is working with Citibank on the sale of tax-exempt bonds and negotiating with prospective low-income housing tax credit investors. Resolution number 125 does not authorize the sale of private activity tax-exempt bonds for the project. Staff will present a subsequent resolution based on the project feasibility to the HHFDC Board of Directors, requesting approval for issuance, sale, and delivery of tax-exempt bonds. Bond issuance is also subject to availability of volume cap and approval by the Department of Budget and Finance and the Governor. Recommendation is as follows: that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following: extend the deadline to issue Hula May multifamily bonds for the Kokua project to July 31st, 2021, and authorize the Executive Director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Staff is available to answer any questions, as well as Mr. Mo Mohana representing the developer.
All right, thanks, Dean. Anybody have any questions? No?
John, this is Gary.
Yeah.
Chair, this is Gary. I just want to have a question for the developer representative. Did the project submit for plan check?
Hi, this is Mo Mohana with Highbridge Costa. Yes, the project has submitted for plan check.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Gary. Anybody else? Okay, if not, Essa, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
and Kim. Kim?
Aye.
Oh,
Right, thanks, Essa. All right, moving on to item 3I. This for action is to approve an extension to the Rental Housing Revolving Fund project letter of intent for the Kokua project located in Honolulu, Oahu, TMK 121010050.
Motion.
Thanks, Mel.
Second.
Thanks, Rona.
This for action is for the Kokua project, which was presented an extension of the Lime multifamily bonds. This for action pertains to the extension, request to extend the rental housing revolving fund letter of interest for this project. On January 10, 2019, the HHFDC Board of Directors approved, for the benefit of the project, intended issuance amount of up to $45,928,783 from the Lime multifamily program, $2,424,698 in annual federal tax, low-income housing tax credits, and $2,424,698 in annual state low-income housing tax credits, as well as a rental housing revolving fund loan of up to $35,852,811. On June 9, 2020, awardees submitted a request to extend the rental housing revolving fund letter of interest for 12 months to July 31st, 2021. The facts regarding the project is the same as presented as the previous for action. So I will skip over that, as well as the project's estimated construction timeline is the same as presented in the previous for action, as well as the project status. A recommendation that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve the following: extend the rental housing revolving fund letter of interest dated January 14, 2019 for the Kokua project RHRF loan to July 31st, 2021, subject to the requirements as set forth the for action dated January 10, 2019, and authorize the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. Staff is available to answer any questions, as well as Mr. Momohana representing the developer.
Thanks, Dean. Anybody have any questions for this for action? If not, Essa, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Moving on to item 3J. So this for action is to approve a request, 1, to reprice 32 units from market to affordable, 2, modify the unit mix, and 3, modify the project budget and schedule. 4, to add an additional floor to the parking structure containing 56 parking stalls, and 5, modify the previously granted exemptions from statutes, ordinance, and rules pursuant to Section 21H 30-38 Hawaii Revised Statutes, including increased height of the parking structure and waiving water and wastewater system facilities charges as to the affordable units to the Ililani project located in Kaka'ako, Oahu, TMK 121, 051, 011, and 012. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Val.
Second.
Thanks,
Are
Val.
Morning, board members. This for action is for modifications to the Ililani project that the board reviewed and approved in February of last year. Specifically, the developer is requesting to reprice 32 units from affordable to market price and to revise a corresponding mix of affordable and market units, to modify the project's budget and schedule, add one additional floor to the parking structure to provide about more parking stalls, and to modify some of the previously granted exemptions to statutes, ordinances, and rules. To recap the history of the Ililani project, February 14 of last year, the board certified Ililani LLC as an eligible developer and approved the Ililani project proposal and execution of development documents. On April 17 of last year, the Honolulu City Council approved the project with passage of Resolution 19-61, and the resolution was attached to this for action. Since that time, we have executed a development agreement with the developer, and the developer commenced their sales program in July of 2019. To date, the developer has sold 121 of 328 units, of which 95 units are affordable and 6 are market units. On May 26th of this year, we received the developer's request to make the subject to modifications. And the reasons are as follows. One is that the developer has seen that prospective buyers are reluctant to commit to contracts due to the economic uncertainty caused by the pandemic. There is, however, strong interest among affordable buyers, so the developer's request to reprice the 32 units from market to affordable. The developer has also seen that buyers of 2-bedroom units are reluctant to purchase a unit without 2 parking stalls, so they are requesting to add 1 level to the parking structure to provide 56 additional parking stalls. The additional height of the parking structure will require an exemption from HCPA market area rules, although the project will no longer require the exemption previously granted for the minimum number of parking stalls. In order to offset the loss of revenue from selling more affordable units, as well as for the higher cost of the additional parking, the developer is requesting exemption of water and wastewater system facility charges rather than the deferral of these fees that are previously approved. And the exemption is only for the affordable units, not the market units. The revised project budget and schedule is also provided in for action. And if these modifications are approved today, they also will require approval by the Honolulu City Council. Staff's recommendation is that the HHFDC board approve the following for the Ililani project. Approve the developer's request to increase the affordability restriction from 165 to 197 units, modify unit pricing, develop an additional floor of the parking structure, exempt the project's affordable units from water system facility charges and wastewater system facility charges, exempt the project from the ACDA's market area rules relating to height of the parking structure, and to modify the project's budget and schedule, and to authorize the executive director to take all action necessary to effectuate the purposes of this for action. And this will be subject to the conditions listed in the for action. I'm here with Albert Palmer, who is the development specialist working on this project. And I believe on Also present are Bill Yuen, Ken Chang, and Henry Chang from the development team to answer any questions.
All right, thanks. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I have a. This is George. I have a quick question. I mean, they're increasing the parking structure to 65 squares, and was just wondering that costs a lot more to more parking. So well, yeah, but that you mentioned that your market study had indicated. The need for more parking space. So I just wonder what you thought about that.
Bill, are you on the line to answer that?
Yeah, sure. Either one, because sometimes the developer knows and maybe staff knows, but normally you don't add more parking, and especially with this project is right on the rail line. So you can increase the parking. So it's just a question.
Well, the developer has proposed a car share program, George, but the developers experienced, I guess the best way to put it is market resistance. People who are looking to buy a 2-bedroom unit really want 2 parking spaces. And that's the primary reason for the desire to increase the number of parking stalls so that we can increase the number of 2-bedroom units that have 2 parking spaces.
And that's based on market studies that you folks have done.
No, that's based on the experience that the sales staff has experienced with market buyers.
Just a question. Yeah, I'm just so surprised, but I can understand the reasoning. I don't know. So.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks, George. Anybody else? If not, Essa, can I get a roll call, please?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
and Kim.
Aye.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3K. This for action is to approve a request to the Department of Land and Natural Resources for the acquisition of fee simple title to the remnant parcel adjacent to the villages of Leali'i in Lahaina, Maui, TMK 245021013. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Carol.
Morning, Chair, members of the board. The villages of Leali'i is HHFDC's master planned community in Lahaina, Maui. In 1994, HHFDC acquired from the LNR fee title to approximately 544 acres below the proposed bypass highway at the villages of Leali'i. On January 10, 2019, after an RFP process, this board approved Ika Ohana as the leasehold developer of the 200-unit Keawe Street Apartments project, now called Kaiaulu o Kukuia, on HHFDC property at the villages of Leali'i, above the existing Waihikuli Terrace and Upper Kapuna Kea House Lot subdivision. On February 7, 2020, the Maui County Council approved 201H exemptions for the Kaiaulu o Kukuia project with modifications. Item number 4 of the modifications to the 201H exemptions
requires that the developer make best efforts to provide a second access road to the project site. During the subdivision approval process for the project site, the county planning department required a setback along the Mackay edge of the project site to allow for a future 60-foot right-of-way extension of Kapuna Kia Street northward should such an access be necessary for future development at the villages of Leali. Because of the sloping topography of the project site, a setback for the full 60-foot right-of-way could not be accommodated on the project site. However, between the Mackay boundary of the project site and the existing homes at Waikuli Terrace, there is a DLNR remnant lot of approximately 30 feet wide, which together with a 35-foot setback on the project site is enough to satisfy the county's requirement for a 60-foot right-of-way for a future roadway from Kapuna Kia Street northward along the Mackay edge of the project site for future development at the villages of Leali. Ika Ohana is agreeable to the following. Design and build its on-site roads to its Mackay boundary to connect with the extension from Kapuna Kia Street at the time that the county extends Kapuna Kia Street from its existing terminus to the project site, which requires traversing a county parcel and a private parcel, and a 30-foot wide easement along the Mackay edge of the project site for a future access road from the Kapuna Kia Street extension going northward as required by the county. This for action seeks approval to request DLNR for the fee simple title to DLNR's remnant lot TMK 2-4-5-21-13 for a possible future access road from Kapuna Kia Street going north along the Mackay edge of the Kaya Ulu or Kukuia project pursuant to county requirements. The consideration for the DLNR remnant lot is proposed to be gratis. I am available for questions.
All right, thanks. Anybody have any questions? No? If not, yes, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
and Kim.
Aye.
All right, thanks everybody. So we have 3L. Before we get into it, anybody need a break?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can we come back at 11:30?
11:30.
Yeah? 10
Okay.
minutes? Okay, thanks.
Just in time.
I'm ready to go.
Hello, is everybody back on yet?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Here.
Present.
All
I like
right.
it. I like your long breaks.
We're only going to have one, so I better put them on, right? Okay, so I guess we will move on since I guess everybody's back, right?
My video not working.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we
Okay.
There we go.
Let me start. This is for item number 3L. This for action is to approve one modifications to award of request for proposals number 17-010-PPMS affordable rental housing portfolio restructuring and preservation to joint offers Standard Property Company Inc. and Stanford Car Development LLC as successful offer. Two, the use of sale proceeds from the restructuring and preservation of the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation affordable housing portfolio to provide a dwelling unit revolving fund DERF loan secured by a senior mortgage on the lease fee interest in a portion of Kamakea Vista mixed-use project located in Kewalo, Oahu, TMK 123-003-018, the project. Three, the certification of Komohale LP or other successor entity approved by the executive director as an eligible developer pursuant to section 15-307-24 Hawaii Administrative Rules. And four, the establishment of a DERF budget for seller deferred financing of the project. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion.
Thanks, Mel. Second?
Second.
What was that? Oh, thanks, Carol.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you, Chair, members of the board. So we've talked about this transaction many times before, and I'll just go over some of the background as briefly as I can. And I believe that it's my hope that this is the final time that we talk about this transaction with the board. To review a few points, we issued a 6-property rental housing system portfolio RFP in July of 2017. We made an RFP award to joint offers Stanford Car Development and Standard Communities later that year in December 2017. Those two partners formed an entity called Komohale LP to undertake the portfolio transaction. A year later, December 2018, the board approved modifications to the RFP award. The major modifications were a reduction in the sales price to $130 million and an increase in the capital improvement budget for the renovation of the projects to $85.1 million. We closed on the sale of 5 of the 6 properties in May of 2019. The sales price was $100.5 million. And the Kamakea Vista transaction, or the Kamakea Vista property closing, was delayed. $29.5 million of the portfolio sales price was allocated to that property. Kamakea Vista is located in Kaka'ako on Oahu at the corner of Queen and Kamakea Streets. It's Melka of the new Whole Foods that's part of the Howard Hughes development. We marketed for sale our interest in the project, which comprised of 2 condominiums, a residential condominium with 226 affordable rental housing units, and a commercial condominium with about 29,000 square feet of usable space. Our interest in the property at the time was a leasehold interest. We had for each condominium an approximately 38-year remaining term ground lease with Atherton Family Foundation. At the time, we were having discussions with Atherton regarding lease modifications that were required by Komohale's lender and possible purchase of Atherton's lease fee interest by HHFDC. We ended up actually buying the land from Atherton. We closed on the land purchase in December 2019. The purchase price was $17.6 million. And the purchase price was funded by proceeds from the sale of the original 5 properties that closed in May 2019. We had ongoing discussions with Komohali regarding possible 75-year ground leases versus the 38-year ground leases that we marketed as part of the sale. Each party ordered an appraisal. The appraisals were fairly far apart. And unfortunately, March 2020, we encountered the COVID-19 pandemic. Discussions did continue with the buyer, Komohali. On May 12th, 2020, we received a letter requesting certain modifications to the RFP award. On June 17th, we received a letter that served as an amendment to the May 12th letter. It contained more specifics on how Komohali proposed to undertake the transaction, including revised sales prices for the residential and commercial condominium components, and a request for seller financing for the commercial condominium acquisition. We did discuss the June 17th letter in quite a bit of detail at last month's board meeting. I'd like to discuss it a little bit more. And Chair, I'd like to suggest that we have that discussion in executive session, a short executive session, with the buyer participating.
Okay. All right, so I guess I'll need a motion to go into executive session.
Now I make a motion.
Thanks. Now, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thanks. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 So can you help us out with the
So they're coming in.
Yep. Drew. Dina. Leighton. Stanford. I don't know who that is.
Did we not go in? All right.
You have to join.
Oh.
Okay. Looks like everybody's out, huh? Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Section 3 of the 4 action is just a discussion of the buyer's RFP award modification request, and discussed for the most part, staff agrees with the proposed changes with the few tweaks that we discussed, and which are also referenced in the board materials. So I'd like to proceed with staff's recommendation, which is that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve 1, staff's recommended modifications to award of request for proposals number 17-010 PPMS, Affordable Rental Housing Portfolio Restructuring and Preservation, to joint offerers Standard Property Company, Inc. and Stanford Car Development, LLC, as successful offerer, substantially as described in Section 3H of this 4 action. Look an extra in there. So, 2, the use of sale proceeds from the restructuring and preservation of the HHFDC Affordable Rental Housing Portfolio to provide a dwelling unit revolving fund or DURF loan secured by a senior mortgage on the leased fee interest in a portion of the Kamakea Vista mixed-use project. 3, the certification of Komahala LP or other successor entity approved by the executive director as an eligible developer pursuant to Section 15-307-24 Hawaii Administrative Rules. And 4, the establishment of a DURF budget for seller deferred financing of the project. Also, that the HHFDC Board of Directors approve an authorization of the executive director to undertake all tasks necessary to effectuate the purposes of this 4 action, including but not limited to the negotiation and execution of 1, an amendment to the purchase and sale agreement, 2, ground leases, and 3, other related transaction documents with the buyer, each substantially on the terms described herein or, as applicable, pursuant to the approved December 13th, 2018 4 action, in either case allowing for modifications as may be deemed reasonable in the executive director's sole and absolute discretion, and to undertake any actions related thereto.
All right, thanks, Chris. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No, if not, Essa, can I get a roll call?
Gary,
Aye.
Rona,
Aye.
Mel,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Carol,
Aye.
Chung,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Glad to put this one to bed.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. For the executive overview.
Afternoon, everyone. I know I'm competing with your appetite, so I'm going to make this quick. First of all, congratulations to our new officers, Don, Wendy as chair. Thank you for taking on that role. Gary Mackler as vice chair. Thank you so much for stepping up. Rona, thank you for carrying on as secretary. Really appreciate it. And welcome, Carol. I don't see her, but I know she's on there. Welcome, Carol, and so nice to see everybody. You know, it's coming to the conclusion possibly of this legislative session. It was said to sine die on Friday. We'll see what actually happens. A few key bills. I think it's in Exhibit C from your packets. The first one is Senate Bill 126. Along with the appropriations, it does have $100 million appropriated to this corporation for the purpose of administering a rent relief program. through working with a nonprofit intermediary. Staff has been working very ferociously at trying to stand that program up as we await the signature and approval of the governor. Second important bill is House Bill 2183, which increases the bond authority ceiling from 1.5 billion to 3 billion. I believe the House agreed to the Senate amendments yesterday or the day before yesterday, so we'll see what happens. House Bill 1929 was the French Street Apartments bill, an extension of the deadline to renegotiate the ground lease for a LIHTC project in Maui. The amendment pushed the deadline out to December 2021 and makes it retroactive so that the corporation did not miss the deadline. And I believe the House agreed to the Senate amendments on that as well. Another important bill was Senate Bill 3139, which was mentioned earlier in connection to the rental housing revolving fund. Exchange of funds, it is now Act 4, so that would help with the issue with our rental housing revolving fund. And last but not least, House Bill 2527 was a LIHTC bill that amends the passive activity loss rules and would have extended or broadened the pool of investors. And I believe the House disagreed with the Senate, so that bill looks like dead for this session. In addition to the legislative update, I just wanted to brief you all on the progress we're trying to make in North Kona for well water development. This has been something that I think has been worked on for the past several years, at least, and affects Kamakana villages, which has the potential for 1,600 units that I believe Stanford Carr is involved in. And also DHHL's villages of La'iopua, Village 4, for 125 units. We've met with the head of the Commission on Water Resources. I've met with DHHL Director Ayla. We've talked to the Mayor Kim's office and also the County Department of Water Service to try and get water well development going. The big issue here is National Park Service, who has been opposed to well development out of concern for the aquifer. We meet with National Park Service Superintendent next week. So we hope to give you an update on that after that meeting. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I know it's lunchtime, but happy to answer any questions you folks may have.
Motion.
No questions. I just want to thank everybody, and we look forward to working with you all.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, I guess if there's nothing else, then Mel, can I get a motion to adjourn? Thank you.
Adjourn.
Have a good everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job, Don.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good job, Essa. Putting everybody in the breakout room. That's great.